I'm Ann Fortescue, Executive Director at the International Museum of Art and Science here in McAllen, Texas. And joining me today is Yajaira Flores, Director of the McAllen Convention and Performing Arts Complex, part of the city of McAllen. And Yajaira, thank you so much for joining me to talk about the cultural scene in McAllen, and specifically McAllen's cultural district.
Well, thank you for inviting me. It's important for us to have a seat at the table and to be able to connect with other arts groups. So we're excited to have been invited. Thank you.
Oh, you are so welcome. For those in our audience who may not know or may not have been to the Convention Center or the Performing Arts Center, would you share a little bit about sort of what's there, what happens, and kind of what's front-facing, but also maybe some of the behind-the-scenes work that you and your team do?
Right. Well, beyond the brick and mortar, we host an average of 500 events a year in both facilities, which brings about 600,000 visitors to the complex each year.
Oh,
we have a whole gamut of different types of events at the facilities that range from corporate events, conventions, and people coming to the city to host their conventions or to their annual conferences, to events that are for the community, like our Broadway shows, our concerts, our civic events, our festivals. So there's a little bit of everything. The Convention Center is 123,000 square feet of space, and a lot of people think of it as the exhibit hall or the convention hall, but it also has 16 breakout rooms that can host small events like something like this, to large events of 5,000 people or more. And the Performing Arts Center is a 4-tier Performing Arts Center that hosts 1,800 people. So,
I know
yeah.
I've been to the PAC. Last year I was fortunate enough to attend the Palm Awards, which is the Valley's annual award ceremony for high school musical theater and theater productions. And I have to say, I think that's when I saw it at full capacity, and it was pretty incredible. So I know it's a well-used and well-loved performing arts complex. And
as a venue manager, for sure, the highlight of my career is to be able to sit in that space during a sold-out performance. When the lights go down and you hear the roars of the crowd, it's just so gratifying to be there and to know that, as staff, we have a little small part in making that happen.
Well, I would actually say you have a really large part, because as I think we certainly know, and hopefully those for whom those in our audience know, that a lot happens behind the scenes.
Absolutely. When
when it comes to cultural activities. And we're fortunate that we're one of the communities in Texas that has a designated cultural district. And one of the cultural district's kind of purposes is to bring together cultural activities and cultural arts to spur local economy, and also to draw attention to the fact that the arts are indeed an economic engine. And I know you mentioned like the large number of productions as well as individuals that come to McAllen's Convention Center and Performing Arts Complex. So I know one of the other kind of signature features are the many festivals that you produce. And of course, one of them being McAllen, which you just finished up a short while ago. Can you share with us a little bit about what goes into McAllen, and what does McAllen kind of celebrate when it comes to arts and culture?
Well, you mentioned a lot. For us, it is really important to focus on cultural tourism. There are so many benefits for cities and destinations to do so, and in the city of McAllen, we try to do so in an authentic way. And by doing so, we really focused on having festivals, McAllen, Fiesta de Palmas, South Pole Illuminated festivals that were authentic to the city. With McAllen, we were focusing on our Latin identity and the fact that we have 86% of our culture of our residents have a Hispanic background, and that comes in a lot of different forms and facets. I think that there are people that live in the city of McAllen that are Hispanic that maybe have never been to Mexico, that don't speak Spanish, to those that are completely on the opposite spectrum, that don't speak English, that are have not been acculturated to the U.S. And so with McAllen, we really wanted to celebrate our Hispanic identity in a very authentic way. And we wanted to do so by bringing the different elements and educating our visitors and our residents on what those elements meant. And so we focused on pre-Hispanic America, and we focused on the land here, what this land was before it became Mexico, before all of that, and focus on those traditions of the elements, and the rain and the soils and the winds, and how it was celebrated thousands and thousands of years ago to how it's celebrated today. With McAllen, we have about 50 to 60,000 people that visit us over a 4-day window, and we have indoor events, outdoor events, and it's just a little bit of everything. We focus on the business sector with an economic summit. Mm-hmm. We have several performances, probably 100 performances outdoors throughout the entire festival. We have a parade called the Calenda Parade that we brought from a visit from Oaxaca. We wanted to emulate the Calenda Parade that you see in the streets of Oaxaca. We have fire dances, we have just a whole bunch of different things. And then we have 3 different food festivals that we host throughout the time as well. So there's a lot of different target audiences that we're looking at. We're looking at the business community, we're looking at the young entrepreneurs, we're looking at families, and giving each different target demo a small taste of McAllen and a small taste of our identity here in the city of McAllen.
Well, wow.
I hope I answered your question.
Oh, you did, and more. And I think in some ways McAllen is like the perfect embodiment of what a cultural district activity should be, where it brings together that civic engagement, community pride, right, heritage and culture and the arts, and also the economy. Because one of the things that we know about many of these art activities is that it's a real magnet and a real driver for us in terms of bringing not only local residents out to enjoy and appreciate an art and culture activity, but it also draws people from outside our community. What
we're starting to see with the events that we're hosting at the Performing Arts Center and at the Convention Center is that on average 30% of the attendees that come to our festivals are traveling over 50 miles to get to our event. What that means is that people are staying in our hotels from out of town, they're eating at our restaurants or shopping at our shopping destinations. So there's a huge economic impact from money coming in from out of town that is now brought to the local economy. The Performing Arts Center and our Convention Center on average brings about $60 to $70 million of economic impact to the region. And McAllen itself is about $2 to $3 million, depending on the year, of economic activity. So they're huge economic engines. And yes, we do try to focus a lot on the quality of life for our residents as well, to make sure that they do have that civic pride and that civic engagement. And we do think that entertainment and culture is a huge way to achieve that level of civic pride.
Yeah, wow. Those numbers are just staggering. And I think maybe sometimes we don't let that sink in quite as much as maybe we should, in terms of really illustrating the significant impact that arts and culture can have on a community, and then why having a cultural district is such a mark of distinction. And I wonder if, sort of as we wrap up, if you could share just a little bit about kind of why you see having a cultural district here in McAllen being important, and any kind of, if you had a crystal ball, any kind of thoughts or aspirations for the future.
I think that the city is a very progressive city, and we have been able to hit all of our essentials in terms of what we can offer our residents and our visitors. I think that next step is cultural tourism, bringing in people from out of town to visit our city. We have a fantastic destination, and if we can bring in people from out of town to see the city, it hits so many different benchmarks that any destination would be proud to have. I think that over the last 10 years, I have witnessed the power of festivals in that civic pride in having people be proud to be from the 956, right? Be proud to be from McAllen. And I think that because of our cultural district, because of our focus on arts and culture, we are now turning the page. There's a lot of room to be done. I think there is a lot of work to continue to do, but this is definitely large steps in the right direction of where we need to be as a culture. But I mentioned the Performing Arts Center and the Convention Center having an economic impact of $60 million to the local economy, but the arts impact is over $100 million to the local economy. And so from a numbers perspective, that is huge, but also kids that are in arts are more likely to succeed, right? And so we really, really want to focus on making sure that we're giving our youth all of the tools that they need to succeed. And I think that our teachers are doing a fantastic job in the schools, but outside of the schools as well. What can we offer our youth, and how can we make the arts more accessible to everybody? How can we get more people to go to a symphony or to a ballet or to a concert? How can we make that more accessible? And I think that if we work together towards that goal, then it's easier for everybody.
Totally agree. Totally agree. Thank you so much. And
I feel like I went off on a tangent. I hope I answered the question correctly.
No, you did. And thank you for being such a champion for arts and culture in the community, and elevating McAllen's cultural district with the work that you do at the Convention Center and the Performing Arts Complex, because it's really a jewel to have these in our community and to make them shine, which you do.
Yes, I think that the buildings themselves are fantastic spaces, and it's a matter of being able to transform those spaces into memories and to experiences into something that's going to stay with people for the rest of their lives, right? They say that a mind that is stretched by a new experience can't ever go back to its old dimension. And so for us to be able to provide those experiences to people really has, it provides so many benefits on a lot of different levels. And so for us, not just having the spaces, but being able to transform these spaces into experiences is the key to our success.
Yeah. And the cultural districts and McAllen's
Absolutely.
by association.
Absolutely.
Yajaira, thank you so much.
Thank
This was
you.
wonderful.
Thank you.